Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video. The tension in relationship, as you all may have known if you've been keeping up to date on the latest breaking news, has Donald Trump and U.S. Chief Justice's John Roberts relationship in jeopardy. Why, you guys may be asking? Well, let's just break that down in today's video. In this reporting by Indian Express. The article is titled Trump and U.S. Chief Justice John Roberts, Two Sides of a Judiciary Under Pressure. And the article reads, for two of the most powerful men in the United States, Donald Trump and John Roberts, it has been a delicate dance from the start. In 2015, the man who would become the chief executive of the United States assailed the integrity of its chief justice, calling Roberts disappointing, and later an absolute disaster for earlier upholding the Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare law that Trump subsequently sought to repeal. A little more than a year later, on the U.S. Capitol steps, Roberts, an enigmatic, conservative Supreme Court justice from the American Midwest, swore in Trump, a brash businessman turned politician from New York City as president, any lingering tension and evaporated under smiles, handshakes, and a backdrop of applause. Since then, the dynamic between the two has remained complicated, marked by dramatic legal wins for Trump as well as painful losses, and punctuated by clashes between the two as Trump shattered norms by aggressively pushing his policies while broking little dissent, including from the co-equal branch of government that Roberts leads, the Judiciary. The tension has risen once again, culminating in an extraordinary public statement by Roberts on Tuesday rebuking the Republican president for urging the impeachment illegally. My editorial's note of a Washington-based federal judge who faulted the administration's actions in a dispute over the legality of deportation flights. This is Chief Justice John Roberts' statement. Ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, so that way you know that it's not something that is part of the article, it's something that was added to the article. Let's see what Chief Justice John Roberts has said Tuesday regarding Trump's rebuking. He says, for more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. For Roberts, who is seen as deputy conservative but also concerned about the institutional credibility and perception of the Supreme Court, chastising Trump puts him in a difficult spot. It has drawn sharp criticism from Trump's allies, and as the court braces for the flood of legal challenges to Trump's myriad executive actions, a certain measure of contempt. I suspect Roberts has a certain measure of contempt for Trump and the way he treats judges. University of Michigan law professor Richard Friedman, who is a Supreme Court historian, said. He added that Roberts is an establishment Republican, but I think he is horrified. While Roberts and Trump often make coverage on legal and substantive goals, there are sharp divergences emerging according to University of Chicago constitutional law expert Aziz bear with me folks, Huku, I believe is how the last name is pronounced. Ladies and gentlemen, comment below and help me pronounce the name, please. Or the last name. Through his flurry of executive actions to shutter federal departments, fire thousands of federal employees, target perceived enemies, and eradicate policies he dislikes, such as diversity mandates from the public and private sectors, Trump is proceeding as if legal constraints don't matter, Hugh said. If presidents are not bound to statutes, if they're not bound by regulations, if they're not bound by U.S. Constitution's First Amendment, then it's not really clear what the job of the Supreme Court is, Hughes added. Hughes said that the casting into institutional doubt of the court's role is, I think, the hard nub of conflict between the two. Since Trump first took office in 2017, Trump has figured prominently in the president's fortunes and in many ways vice versa. Trump appointed 3 justices in his first term, creating a 6-3 conservative majority that Roberts needed to deliver landmark rulings, rolling back abortion rights and affirmative action practices, expanding gun rights, and curbing federal regulatory power. Roberts, meanwhile, presided over the first impeachment of Trump's, the first 2 impeachments of Trump from his trials. My editorial's note, or editorial addition. He was acquitted both times and has penned Supreme Court rulings that both boosted the president, including by granting him broad immunity from criminal prosecution and constrained at key moments. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be a video dropping soon regarding if the Supreme Court can eventually revisit the Supreme Court immunity ruling, which is completely BS if you ask me, and reverse the ruling. The landmark immunity ruling offered Roberts authored by Roberts last July involved federal criminal charges against Trump over his efforts to undo his 2020 presidential election loss by, to Democrat Joe Biden, bolstering his bid to regain the presidency by effectively delaying a trial that ultimately never took place. Which, ladies and gentlemen, is completely bogus and BS if you ask me. I think it still should have taken place regardless and should have never been delayed, because Trump needs to be held accountable for his gosh darn actions. This is why I do not support criminally convicted idiots and douchebags like him. Continuing with the article. Trump thanked Roberts as Supreme Court justices attended the president's address to a joint session of Congress this month, Trump states, "I won't forget it." The president later stated that he was thanking Roberts for swearing him into office. Quote, "It's very hard to understand that decision as being anything but highly subsequential in the electoral terms and as anything other than a real choice on Roberts' part," Hugh said in the immunity case. Having done that, what does he think now? U.S. travel ban. Roberts also authored a ruling that gave Trump one of his biggest victories during his first term, upholding his travel ban, blocking people from several Muslim majority countries from coming to the United States against claims that the policy represented religious discrimination in violation of the Constitution. Trump's administration now is considering issuing a new travel ban that could include dozens of countries. On the other hand, Roberts has handed Trump some setbacks. In recent weeks, Roberts joined a narrow majority of the Supreme Court justices in declining to let Trump immediately fire the head of a federal watchdog agency or withhold payments to foreign aid organizations for work they already performed for the government, though neither decision resolved the legal merits of the cases. In 2019, Roberts joined the court's liberal justices to block his plan to add a contentious citizenship question to the National Census questionnaire, prompting Trump to suggest that the administration would find a way to move forward anyway before backing down. In 2020, Roberts wrote a ruling that let a New York prosecutor obtain Trump's financial records, and the Chief Justice again joined the liberals, to block Trump's bid to end a program protecting from deportation immigrants known as Dreamers who entered the United States illegally as children. Quote, "This horrible and political charged decision coming out of the Supreme Court are shotgun blasts into the face of people that are proud to call themselves Republicans or conservatives." Trump on social media wrote after that ruling. My editorial edition. Friedman said, "From Trump's point of view, it may be very perplexing because he thinks you're going to have a judge entirely in his favor or against. But that's not the way the world works. From Robert's point of view, there's no mystery. He's deciding cases. Roberts, Friedman added, is a good, smart lawyer with an allegiance to constitutional procedures, and that's something that's a little bit out of Trump's understanding. A previous rebuke. Chief Justice, the Chief Justice's rebuke of Trump on Tuesday was not his first. After Trump in 2018 called a federal judge appointed by Democratic former President Barack Obama, who ruled against his policy barring asylum for certain immigrants, an Obama judge, Roberts responded in a statement. This was also from Chief Justice John Roberts. That was added into the article. It's not part of the article. Let's see what this statement from him has to say in rebuking Donald Trump. Because honestly, I thought this was the first time he rebuked Donald Trump. But no, he's rebuked Donald Trump other times. Quote, we do not have Obama judges or Trump judges, Bush judges or Clinton judges, Roberts wrote, referring to former presidents who made the appointments and emphasizing the importance of an independent judiciary. In recent weeks, some legal scholars and Trump critics have questioned whether his administration's pushback against orders by judges impeding his policies amounts to defiance of the judiciary by the executive branch, which could provoke a constitutional crisis. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this of what Donald Trump is doing in defying court orders can send us into a constitutional crisis, logically and realistically, regardless of what these Trump critics and Trump supporters say. Asked during a Tuesday interview on the Fox News program, The Ingraham Angel, whether he would defy a court order, Trump said, no, you can't do that, but also said that there are judges that shouldn't be allowed. Whether the administration defied U.S. Judge James Boasberg's order to halt deportation flights of alleged gang members to Venezuela is at the heart of Trump's call for the judge's impeachment by Congress, which could lead to removal from the bench. If Roberts wants to preserve the legitimacy and authority of the Supreme Court, the issues that are likely coming down by the bike are going to put the court's power to the test. Albany Law School professor Raymond Briscia said, "The most important of these issues is the question of the court's authority to ensure the executive branch complies with court orders," added by Brisca. She added and said, "I hope we can expect Roberts to support the lower courts in their efforts to ensure compliance with their orders, even if that means seeking to rein in actions of the Trump administration." Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's legal breaking analysis video. If you did enjoy this legal breaking analysis video, please do consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. If you want to make sure that you never miss a brand new legal breaking update and video analysis that I post to the channel, please do feel free to hit that bell icon that is right next to the subscribe button down below. It does not cost anything. It is located beside the subscribe button on the right hand side below the screen here. Next thing you guys can do is also follow me if you want to make sure that you never miss a brand new legal breaking analysis reporting update on my social medias that will be linked down below. Along with the news article link and many more important vital news articles. Vital links. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, please help me reach and achieve the channel goal of overall 150 plus subscribers. The reason why I'm saying 150 plus subscribers is because right after we reach 150 subscribers, we have more subscribers to reach and achieve right after we reach and achieve the goal of 150 subscribers. Until my next reporting, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's legal breaking reporting. In the meantime, please stay safe, please stay positive, and know that justice will prevail despite Donald Trump and his illegal administration's illegal efforts and illegal unconstitutional orders. Until my next reporting, ladies and gentlemen, I'll talk to you guys in the next video.